This is Mac OS Ken.
Another higher price target for Apple, doubts around the iPhone 16 SuperCycle, and Meta takes a page from Apple's book. It is Friday, the 19th of July, 2024. I'm Ken Ray, and this is news from Mac OS Ken, brought to you by yours truly and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/MacOSCan. Another higher price target for Apple. Apple 3.0 has CFRA analyst Angelo Zeno doing the honors this time. While he and his see signs of a turnaround for iPhone in China, the big catalysts are everything else. Quoting his note, "We expect Apple to roll out on-device generative AI features that could get consumers to upgrade this fall, with the opportunity to increase prices if it chooses to do so, though that is not in their forecast. We also see Apple refreshing its entire hardware lineup in calendar year 24, while we see services growth of 14% for the June quarter. The wealth effect in emerging regions like India, where Apple heavily invests, is poised to reap higher revenue." Skipping down the page a bit, our buy rating reflects our view of Apple's ecosystem, on-device AI prospects, improving margin profile, and expanding addressable market. Despite macro uncertainty, we think Apple's premium valuation is warranted given stable free cash flow generation, aggressive capital allocation strategy, and management's ability to execute. That and other positives support the analyst's aforementioned buy rating. He used Thursday's note to raise his price target on Apple shares from $240 to $260. Not everyone is convinced that Apple Intelligence will have buyers lining up, virtually or otherwise, for iPhone 16. Word of a few analysts standing in disagreement, starting with UBS analyst David Vogt. MarketWatch ran a piece that I missed Wednesday that had the Wall Streeter poo-pooing the idea, while noting widespread confidence in an iPhone AI supercycle for iPhone 16. Vogt thinks that optimism is misplaced. The piece has him saying, "Our analysis of smartphone demand by region, prior cycles, income demographic data, and carrier subsidies argues for a more modest cycle next year. Therefore, we forecast iPhone revenue growth of 2.4%. That is below consensus and well below the rosiest forecasts." Mr. Vogt has a neutral rating on Apple shares. His price target on the shares is $190, which is more than $30 below Apple's opening price today. You know, all those reports that said Apple is upping its orders for iPhone 16 versus the number of iPhone 15s it ordered last year? TF International analyst Ming-Chi says, "Not so fast." Bloomberg ran a piece a week ago or so saying Apple is expecting to ship about 90 million iPhone 16 models this year. That's up about 10% from the 81 million iPhone 15s it prepared to ship in 2023. Looking to pop that bubble is Young MC. The analyst hit Medium on Thursday, saying he's just not seeing it or hearing it. Having listened in on earnings calls from iPhone suppliers TSMC and Largan, the analyst says he didn't hear the kind of positive indicators that would or should accompany an increase in iPhone orders. That said, his numbers differ from Bloomberg's. While Bloomberg had iPhone orders going from 81 million for iPhone 15's launch to 90 million for iPhone 16, the TF International analyst has last year's orders at 91 million units to what he says are this year's orders of 87. That's not only not more, it's less. The thing is, he has heard talk of some increases in orders. This, he writes off, saying it might be related to specific reasons within individual industries or components. So there's a reason to discount orders you do see, but not take seriously orders you don't? There is this other thing, though. Ming-Chi, quote, doubts the ability of Apple Intelligence to significantly drive iPhone upgrades. The analyst points out that Apple Intelligence will only be available in beta for U.S. users in the second half of this year, and Apple Intelligence Siri only supports English. Regardless of whether Apple Intelligence alone can drive replacement demand, which is another big topic, the expectation that consumers will buy the new iPhone 16 for the beta version of Apple Intelligence in the second half of 2024 may be too optimistic. I will say, Creative Strategies President Carolina Milanese said basically the same thing to me on a recent episode of the Mac Observer show. Simplifying what she said, how do you have a SuperCycle without China, which probably won't get Apple Intelligence anytime soon? I would love to send you to your podcast aggregator to hear that, but a few episodes have gone missing. That is being worked on in the meantime. You can hear the show on the TMO site, macobserver.com/podcasts, or you can watch and hear it at youtube.com/macobserver. Another good reason to keep your operating systems up to date. A piece from Mac Rumors says the hardware cracking tool Cellebrite can't get past iOS 17.4 or later. More like Dark, am I right? Thank you. I'm here all week. Cellebrite is frequently used by law enforcement and isn't supposed to be used by anybody else. And yet go to eBay right now and you can find lots of Cellebrite units available at buy it now prices. Additionally, not everybody with a white hat is a white hat. Perhaps for these reasons, Apple is constantly working to thwart the ability of companies like Cellebrite and NSO Group to break into its hardware, by which I mean break into your hardware. With that in mind, Mac Rumors says Cellebrite is unable to unlock iPhones running iOS 17.4 or later, according to leaked documents verified by 404 Media. Not that Cellebrite's giving up. The piece says for those phones it can't get into, the company's status is listed as in research. It's like the spinning beach ball, but in word form. What do Apple and Meta have in common? If you say searing hatred for one another, yeah, probably. If you say they both make AR and VR headsets, Apple might disagree, but I would not. Neither of those are the commonality I had in mind, though. A new thing they have in common, they're both holding back on new AI offerings in the European Union. 9to5Mac highlights a report from Axios saying as much. Quoting the latter, Meta will withhold its next multimodal AI model and future ones from customers in the European Union because of what it says is a lack of clarity from regulators there, Axios has learned. Meta told the site, "We will release a multimodal Llama model over the coming months, but not in the EU due to the unpredictable nature of the European regulatory environment." If that sounds familiar, it should. 9to5Mac quotes an Apple statement last month, wherein the Cupertino company said due to the regulatory uncertainties brought about by the Digital Markets Act, we do not believe that we will be able to roll out 3 new features, iPhone mirroring, SharePlay screen sharing enhancements, and Apple Intelligence to our EU users this year. EU Competition Commissioner Margrethe Vestager called the statement a stunning, open declaration that they know 100% that this is another way of disabling competition where they have a stronghold already. 9to5Mac's take on Facebook joining the fray is kind of interesting. The way that site sees it, neither Apple nor Meta want to keep what they see as one of the biggest future features out of the European market. Not only might that annoy customers, it would also limit their ability to make revenue. Quoting the take, both Apple and Meta are playing a high-stakes poker game, betting that the EU will back down in the face of this threat by agreeing not to instigate antitrust proceedings against them for launching their AI products and services in the region. While the EU hasn't bent to pressure from any single company, then there were two. It'll be interesting to monitor the union's stance if more follow suit. For the 8 to 10 of you with an Apple Vision Pro, there is more video upon which to feast your eyes. The Cupertino company issued a press release Thursday highlighting one new thing to watch now, as well as new stuff on the way. Out now, the first installment of a new series called Boundless. Apple says the title invites viewers to experience once-in-a-lifetime trips from wherever they are. The first episode, Hot Air Balloons, premiered last night at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. Other videos on the way include a new installment of the nature documentary series Wildlife, hitting sometime next month. The aerial travel series Elevated will hit sometime in September. Then later in the year, there's a scripted presentation, a performance by The Weeknd, stuff from the NBA All-Star Weekend, and a new extreme sports series from Red Bull. Probably goes without saying, but this is all immersive video stuff. The company explains Apple Immersive Video leverages 3D video recorded in 8K with a 180-degree field of view and spatial audio to really make you feel like you're there, wherever that is. Might not be $3,500 amazing, but having done the demo, it's pretty amazing. The Apple TV Plus experiment earlier this year, adding old movies at no additional cost, seems to have gone well. So well that Apple is looking to make more permanent deals for backlog films, according to a report from Bloomberg. Ars Technica highlights the report, saying Apple is talking with major studios about ways to complement its slate of original programming with films from other companies in order to expand and extend the service's appeal. That is according to one secret so-and-so, with the report indicating that this time will be bigger. Doesn't necessarily mean more movies at once. Rather, it seems to mean wider availability. While the 50 or so Apple had earlier this year were US only, the Cupertino company is said to be angling for international availability for the longer-term deal or deals. All in the talking stage at this point, no word in the piece on which studios the company is chatting up, nor on when any deals might be done. And finally today, something disturbing this way comes. The Apple TV Plus limited series Lady in the Lake starts its run today. Starring Oscar winner Natalie Portman and Emmy nominee Moses Ingram, there was really nothing about the show's description that seemed overly compelling. Cult of Mac ran a description a few weeks back saying the limited series is set in 1960s Baltimore, where the disappearance of a young girl pushes Jewish housewife Maddie Schwartz, played by Portman, to shed a secret past and reinvent her life as an investigative journalist. Cleo Sherwood, played by Ingram, is a mother navigating the political underbelly of Black Baltimore while struggling to provide for her family. Here, there be spoilers. When Cleo is murdered, Maddie becomes fixated, a fixation that puts everyone around them in danger. I mean, it doesn't sound bad, but doesn't sound compelling. Then I saw the trailer, which is a certifiable trip. 7 episodes for this one. The first 2 should be up now on Apple TV+. Want to let you know about 2 more shows before I let you go. First, my old industry analyst pal Ross Rubin is in the house for this week's Mac Observer show. We're tackling mixed reality from the hardware side, judging the success of Apple Vision Pro, what effect it is having on the Meta Quest line, and is there time for other headset makers to emerge? All of that and plenty more on the Mac Observer Show. Find it wherever you get podcasts or watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/MacObserver. This week started with news of a massive data breach at AT&T. As predicted, we dove deeper on checklist number 384, a very unfun snow day. Remember the Ticketmaster hack a few weeks back? Yeah, it seems both the carrier and the ticket seller got hosed by Snowflake and by themselves. We'll tell you more on checklist number 384, brought to you by SecureMac. Find that wherever you get podcasts or on the show site, securemac.com/checklist. macOS Ken, brought to you by me and supported by people like you, patrons through Patreon. Find out more and add your support at patreon.com/macOSCan. Advertising handled by Backbeat Media, online at backbeatmedia.com. You can reach me a couple of ways. Info at macoscan.com or call 716-780-4080. Until next time, that is news from macOS Ken. I'm Ken Ray.
Ciao.